If you're brand new to guns, you've probably wondered, how do I buy a gun from a gun dealer? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain just that. When you attempt to purchase a firearm, you will need to complete an ATF Form 4473. This document will ask you some basic information about yourself, such as your name, date of birth, social security number, address, and so on. Now, Section 21 asks you a series of questions to determine if you are legally allowed to purchase, possess, or even touch a firearm under federal law. So question 21A, are you the actual transferee buyer of the firearms listed on this form? Now, sometimes people who are prohibited from purchasing a firearm under federal law will hire somebody else to buy the guns for them. This act is called a straw purchase and is punishable by 15 years in prison. Question 21A is asking if you are purchasing the firearm for yourself or for someone who is not legally allowed to purchase a firearm. Here's a scenario. Yolanda is purchasing a firearm for her boyfriend, who has been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. When Yolanda was completed the ATF Form 4473, she marked yes to question 11A. Has Yolanda committed a crime? Yes, Yolanda has committed the crime of a straw purchase because she is attempting to purchase a firearm for someone who is prohibited from possessing, owning, or touching a gun under state and federal law. However, in the state of Florida, you are allowed to purchase a firearm as a gift for someone else as long as the person you are buying the firearm for does not give you any money in return and is not prohibited from purchasing the firearm for themselves. I'm going to put a link right here if you want to watch a video of exactly how to buy a gun legally as a gift for somebody else or to receive a gun as a gift. Watch that video and it'll really help you. So question 21B. Are you under indictment or information in any court for a felony or any other crime for which the judge could imprison you for more than 1 year? Or are you a current member of the military who has been discharged with violations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice and whose charges has been referred to a general court-martial? Question 21C. Have you ever been convicted in any court, including a military court, of a felony or any other crime for which a judge could have imprisoned you for more than 1 year, even if you received a shorter sentence, including probation? Question 21D. Are you a fugitive from justice? All of these should be common sense. Question 21A. Are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or other controlled substance? Then in bold print underneath it says, warning, the use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law, regardless of whether it has been legalized or decriminalized for medical or recreational purposes in the state where you reside. As we discussed in a previous video, if you are a medical marijuana user or card holder in Florida, you must answer yes to question 21E. And the firearms dealer is not legally allowed to sell you a firearm. And I'll put a link to that video right here. Question 21F. Have you ever been adjudicated as a mental defective? Or have you ever been committed to a mental institution? You're probably wondering, what does it mean to be adjudicated as a mental defective? It means a determination by a court, board, commission, or other lawful authority that a person, as a result of marked subnormal intelligence or mental illness, incompetency, condition, or disease, is a danger to himself or others, or lacks the mental capacity to contract or manage his own affairs. The term shall also include a finding of insanity by a court in a criminal case. 2, those persons found incompetent to stand trial or found not guilty by reason of lack of mental responsibility. What does it mean to be committed to a mental institution? So a formal commitment of a person to a mental institution by a court, board, commission, or other lawful authority. The term includes a commitment to a mental institution involuntarily. The term includes commitments for mental defectiveness or mental illness. It also includes commitments for other reasons, such as drug use. The term does not include a person in a mental institution for observation or a voluntary admission to a mental institution. Question 21G. Have you ever been discharged from the armed forces under dishonorable conditions? Question 21H. Are you subject to a court order, including a military protection order issued by a military judge or magistrate, restraining you from harassing, stalking, or threatening your child or intimate partner or child of such partner? 21I. Have you ever been convicted in any court of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence? Or are you or have you ever been a member of the military and been convicted of a crime that included, as an element, the use of force against a person as identified in the instructions? That was confusing. Question 21J. Have you ever renounced your U.S. citizenship? 21K. Are you an alien illegally or unlawfully in the United States? If you answered yes to questions 21A through 21K, you are not permitted to purchase a firearm under federal law. Now, once you've completed this ATF Form 4473, you will sign the document to certify that all the information is correct and accurate. You will also be required to present a valid government-issued photo identification containing the purchaser's name, current residence address, and date of birth. Now, a combination of government documents can be used to meet this requirement. For instance, if you have a driver's license that does not have your current residence address, you can provide a government-issued document containing your full legal name and the current residence address as a second form of identification. An example of this may be a vehicle registration or a water bill. The state of Florida has a mandatory 3 business day wait for the purchase of a rifle, shotgun, or a handgun. However, some counties have extended this waiting period to 5 business days. Now, many people think the waiting period is the time that it takes to complete the background check, but this is completely false. The background check only takes a few minutes and is typically completed after the waiting period ends. Now, when calculating the waiting period, it is important to remember that it does not include the day you purchase the gun, the day you pick up the gun, weekends, or holidays. So if John purchased a handgun in Hillsborough County on Wednesday, he would not be allowed to pick up his new firearm until Thursday of the following week. Now, once you've completed the mandatory waiting period, you will have to return to the gun store to complete the final steps. When you arrive, the gun dealer will submit your background check to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for review. The FDLE will respond with either an approval, a denial, or a conditional non-approval. If your background check is approved, you will be asked to sign the ATF Form 4473. And you're signing that none of the information in the form has actually changed since you first filled it out. Then you get to take the firearm home and you're done. If your background check is denied, it could mean one of 2 things. First, you weren't very honest when you were filling out the questions on the 4473. Or second, the state of Florida made a massive mistake. Either way, the gun dealer is required to provide you with an appeal form that requires you to get fingerprinted and have a passport photo taken. You will need to submit all of this information to the FDLE within 60 days of being denied. The final result of a background check could be a conditional non-approval. If you receive a CN, this means that there is something in your past that the FDLE or the FBI is unsure of, or that somebody has the exact same name as you. It doesn't mean that you're denied. It simply means that they need an additional 5 days to look deeper into your background. Now, when we own the gun store, sometimes we would receive an approval 5 minutes after the customer left. And other times it would take the entire 5 days. No matter what happens, stay in touch with the gun dealer and they will keep you informed.